about this talk that I'm calling the Real Estate Playbook. As Josh said, I am a real estate coach and trainer. I run a company called Robertson Coaching International. We're based out of Newport Beach, California, and we're one of the fastest growing real estate coaching and training companies in North America. And I believe it's because we do things a little bit differently. You know, a big part of what I believe in and what we help agents with is this understanding that at the end of the day, everybody on this webinar, if you are a real estate professional, you're a small business owner. And our goal is to really help you create a business that supports your life, not a business that runs your life. And we do that through systems and training and teams and all the other things that oftentimes get left out. You know, the tactics and the strategies, those are all good. And we're going to talk a lot about tactics and strategies. But at the end of the day, if you don't treat your business like a business, all you are is just a glorified salesperson. And I love salespeople, and I'm a salesperson. But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful in this industry, you've got to treat it like a business. And so Josh and I were talking back and forth, and he had heard me speak about some things. And I'm such a fan of prime seller leads, and so many of our clients are on it, that he and I were chatting back and forth. And I was like, hey, here's what's working for our clients. Here's the success that they're having. And he said, hey, would you mind coming on and sharing that process with our people? And I said, I would love to do that. So this webinar is really because Josh made it happen, and he wanted it to be here, and so I'm here, and hopefully you guys can see my face, and you'll know that I'm passionate about this. So normally I can't see myself, so I have no idea what I look like. I could look like a complete dork, but whatever. I'm having fun. We're going to have a great time today, and so let me kind of give you an idea of why I call this the Real Estate Playbook. I'm a big sports fan, and actually my big sport that I love is football, professional football. And the thing about professional football players is everybody thinks they're like some of the dumbest people on earth, right? Like these big muscle-bound jocks that are just kind of like, give me ball, I run. And the truth is actually very different. No, not all of them, but a lot of the NFL athletes are actually extremely bright, smart people. And when they join a team, they're handed a binder that is anywhere from 3 to 5 inches thick that's filled with hundreds and hundreds of plays. And they have to memorize these plays, not just their role on the play, but everybody on the field at the same time. They have to know where everybody's going to be. And then as a team, they practice these plays over and over and over again. They rehearse them over and over and over again. And as they do that, that creates what we call mastery. They start to master those plays, both as individuals and as a team unit. And then that team that started to master these plays goes out on the field against other teams that have mastered their plays. And that's where you start to see professional level sports and these amazing athletes compete against each other. And what I found is that business is actually very similar to professional sports. In business, especially in real estate, there are proven plays, proven practices that if we were to just to do them over and over and over again, we would experience a certain level of success. Unfortunately, what most people do is they don't do the same things over and over again because they get bored. And what I found is this: success is actually very boring. The results of success are very exciting. But how we get there is doing the same thing over and over and over again each day, little things that move us forward towards the goals, towards the dreams that we have for ourselves, for our businesses, for our families, whatever it is, right? You don't just go to the gym once and all of a sudden you've got a six-pack. You have to go there day in and day out and work the same exercises over and over and over again until it's kind of boring. But when you start to master it, becomes exciting. And so what I want to do is I want to kind of open up the playbook and show you exactly what we teach our clients and what's working so well for them and why they've been able to have the success that they've had. We don't have the full numbers in yet from 2014. It's not 2015 just yet. I don't have the full numbers from 2014, but what we're looking at right now, just in the last year, is that our average client increased their gross commission income by over 50%. So when I say that I can show you how to grow your business by 40% in the next 12 months, that's not hyperbole. This is actually what we teach and a portion of how we make this happen, and that's what I want to give you here today. So with that, let me give you a brief overview of where we're going to go, and then you'll see the slides start to move. So if you're all freaking out going, oh my gosh, the slides aren't moving, don't worry, we're going to get there in just a second. So here's the kind of overview of where we're headed. First, I want to talk with you about 3 challenges that are facing the real estate industry today. And then what I want to do is I want to shift gears and I want to talk with you about how you can leverage your marketing and understanding the 5 different stages that any of the leads, any of the people that you want to work with, especially those through prime seller leads, and we're going to spend some time on online lead generation as it pertains to prime seller and even other sources, so you can understand how do we take these leads and move them from one phase to another, all the way from the first phase through the 5th phase, so we convert more of the people that we're already getting, plus generate more leads, so we're always filling that pipeline. Because if we can master those phases, we can address the 3 challenges that are facing the industry that we're going to be covering here today. And then we're going to wrap it all up, and we're going to spend some time on Q&A. So do be typing your questions into the side panel. I can't see them right now intentionally because I have ADHD, and so some of you are like, really? No kidding. But I do. And so, like, looking at it, I'd be like, squirrel. So I'm not going to look at the questions until the very end. So Josh is going to be kind of going through your questions, monitoring them, making sure that I see the ones that are really critical. So do be putting your questions in there. We're going to get to as many as possible. And I've got extra time, so I'm going to make sure you get out of here on time, but I'll be hanging out even longer if we want to get as many questions in as possible. All right? So that's where we're headed today. Lots to cover. So here's what we're going to do. First thing we want to do, whoops, why is this not moving? Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's who I am on Twitter and also on Facebook. You can go to our Facebook page, engage with us there. So I'm at Travis Will on Twitter, Coach Travis Robertson on Facebook. We'd love to connect up with you guys, hear your thoughts. Again, I'm not going to be looking at it while I'm on here because I will be fully distracted and we don't want that. So next up is, let's do this. The 3 challenges facing the real estate industry, or 3 of the challenges. These aren't the only 3, but the 3 I want to cover. The first is what we call the SOS challenge, the Shiny Object Syndrome challenge, right? And this is basically the feeling that we have to be everywhere, right? And everybody's always telling you, you have to be on this social network, that social network, this advertising platform, that advertising platform. You got to be on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest. You're like, I don't even know what Pinterest is. It looks like cupcakes and wedding dresses, and why do I need to be on Pinterest? And then Instagram, and you know, it's hard to keep all of these things straight. But the problem is you go from one conference to another conference to another conference, and everybody's telling you you've got to be everywhere until all of a sudden you're just so distracted, you're spinning plates, right? You're like that guy at the circus that just keeps moving. And if you've ever watched somebody spin plates professionally, it's stressful, even if you're not the one spinning the plates, because that person can't stop moving. And the same thing gets true in our businesses, is that if we start getting distracted by all these shiny objects, it creates a huge amount of stress in our lives and our business. And it's no longer fun, because it becomes a huge amount of chore and obligation for everything that we need to do. And probably more than anything else, this creates more stress for the people that are entering our program. When they first come to us for coaching or for training, whatever it is, more than anything else, this probably creates the most amount of stress in their life, because they're all over the place and they're doing a million things, but they're not doing any of them effectively. And if we want to master something, it's not about how much we do, it's about how effectively we do those few things that truly matter. So I want to show you how to take all of the shiny objects, all the crap that somebody's trying to push on you, and filter it down so that you just focus on those few things that really do work for your business. And how to identify that. So we will talk about that today as we kind of cover the 5 different phases. The second challenge is what we call the 90-10 challenge. And the 90-10 challenge says this: 90% of all transactions in your marketplace are actually controlled by 10% of the agents. So 10% of the agents are doing 90% of all of the transactions in your marketplace. This is statistics. On average, across all marketplaces, 10% control 90% of the deals. And that means 10% get about 90% of all of the gross commission income. Now, that means the flip side is also true. 90% of agents are fighting over the scraps that are left behind, right? They're fighting over the 10% that's left over by those agents that's just what's left. Now, I don't know about you, but what sounds more fun, to be in the 90% or the 10%? The 10%, right? We want to be in that 10% that controls the 90%, but here's the problem. See, when most people get into this business, they're surrounded by who? People in the 90% or people in the 10%? They're surrounded by more people in the 90%, and that becomes a problem because everybody enters this industry with almost the same identical business plan, right? They go, I'm going to get my real estate license, then all my friends and family are going to use me to sell real estate, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm going to make all this money. And the friends and family are like, yeah, no, we're not. We're not going to use you because you don't know what you're doing yet. And all you are, you're ignorant, and God bless you, we love you, but you're still kind of ignorant right now. And now all you are is a licensed ignoramus. And so until you figure out what you're going to do, we're not going to use you. Go learn on somebody else. And then when you figure out what you're doing, then maybe we'll use you to sell real estate. So all of a sudden these guys are looking around, these gals are looking around going, crap, now what? Now what do I do? Because my entire business plan of all my friends and family are going to use me to sell real estate isn't working. So what they do is they start looking around at what everybody else is doing. But the problem is they're surrounded by people in the 90%, but they don't know they're in the 90% because they're good people. And I got nothing against the people in the 90%. I love the people in the 90%, but I don't want to be the people in the 90%. But they start looking around, going, what is she doing? What is he doing? And they start imitating what the people in the 90% do. And the problem with that is that if we imitate what the people in the 90% do, we're going to have what the people in the 90% have. And I don't want what the people in the 90% have. I want what the people in the 10% have, which means that what we have to do is we have to identify what are the actions, the activities, the things, that the habits of the people in the top 10% so that we can do that, because it follows that if we do what the 90% do, we'll get what the 90% get. But if we do what the 10% do, we can have what the 10% have. And so today is really about showing you what people in that top 10% do in their business so that you can duplicate it into yours. Now, the third challenge is what we call the perception challenge. The perception challenge. And this is basically this. I think you would all agree that the average consumer does not have a really great perception of real estate agents. Would you agree with that? I mean, I think for the most part, we could all agree that the average consumer doesn't think very highly of real estate agents. And the reason is because at the end of the day, everybody on the line is in sales, right? Everybody in here that's watching this and seeing my goofy face is in real estate or is in sales. And we don't have like the best perception of salespeople, do we, right? Nobody wakes up one day and goes, you know what, I really want to be sold today. And so what happens is we kind of tend to associate negative connotations with salespeople, including real estate agents. And actually, there was a consumer study that was done, a number of them, asking people, what are the most trusted professions? What are the most trusted professions? And if you're a real estate agent, you're like, well, we've got to be on there. So you start looking down the list. You get about halfway down, right? And you're like, must have missed it. So you start back up at the top. You start looking down again. You get halfway down. You're like, crap, I didn't miss it. Where are we? You keep going down, going down. And they're right above lawyer or used car salesman, depending on the survey, is real estate agent. You're like, are we that bad? It's come down to us and the lawyer or us and a used car salesperson. That's how the world perceives real estate professionals. And it's because everybody's in sales. And I mean, think about it. When I ask people, what are the words that come to mind when you think of a salesperson? It's pushy, slimy, oily, sleazy, liar, cheat, snake oil salesman, scumbag, shyster. I mean, I've heard everything. Some I won't even repeat on this webinar, right? What we usually think of is this guy. Nobody wants to be this guy, right? Hey, let me sell you a house. I've got to make you a deal. And the problem is none of us in this world or in this room can change the world's perception of a real estate agent. Nobody can do that. We can't change the world's perception of real estate agents. But what we can do is we can leverage that in your own business so that if everybody feels like real estate agents are down here, you start to separate yourself through your marketing, through your efforts, through what we're going to be covering today. And now you start to create such a gap between you and everybody else that people are drawn to you, they're attracted to you. And that's really what I'm going to be showing you how to do today, is how to get people to look at you differently than this guy right here going, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that girl. And truthfully, how many of you know somebody that reminds you of this agent or this guy, and you're like, I know somebody that looks exactly like that, and I don't figure out how they're still in business. And that's okay. You can't change them, but what you can do is you can separate yourself. And today is about separating yourself so people are attracted to you and they're drawn to you, and that's what we're going to be looking at. All right? So what is the goal of marketing? Marketing has one goal and one goal only, And most people misunderstand this. They usually think that marketing is to get a sale. That's usually number one, is to get a sale, or to brand myself, or to get leads, or to create awareness, right? And so all of these things are good results of marketing, but they're not the goal of marketing. You see, your marketing has one goal and one goal only, and if we understand this, it changes everything that we do. And the goal of your marketing is really this. It's to motivate your prospects to take the next step with you, no matter what that next step is. And this is critical, especially, by the way, you guys, when you're dealing with prime seller leads, when you're dealing with the leads that you're getting through your prime seller sites, through your or your prime buyer sites as well. How do we deal with these people? We have to understand that everybody's coming in at a different stage, at a different level of readiness. And too many people want leads to be hot, ready to go right now, and so their marketing is focused on getting a sale. But the problem is, what percentage of the leads that you get, I don't care whether it's prime seller leads, I don't care whether it's other online lead sources or offline lead sources, what percentage of the leads that you get on any given day or week or month are hot, right? What percentage are actually hot? Now, most people say somewhere between about 1 to 5% of the leads that they get are hot leads, right? And so let's be generous and say that 5% of the leads that you get are hot, like ready to go right now. Well, if your marketing is focused on getting a sale, let's say, right, what percentage of those people, those leads that you're getting, is your marketing speaking to? 5%. It's only going to speak to the hot leads, because those are the ones that are going to be ready to go. And they're like, sweet, this guy, this gal is speaking to me in the marketing because I am ready to buy or I am ready to sell, and that marketing speaks to me. But what happens to the other 95% of people who aren't ready to buy or sell right now? Your marketing is only speaking to 5%, so what happens to the other 95%? They get ignored. And what happens when we ignore a big chunk of our leads? What happens when they're ready to buy or sell? Who do they go with? The person who hasn't been ignoring them, who they feel like has been connecting with them and understanding that they're at a different stage. They're not ready to move forward right now, and has been nurturing them through that process. So that's what we need to do, and that's what our big focus is going to be on, is understanding that people are coming in at different stages, and we have to move them through those stages. So what I want to do is I want to walk you through those 5 different phases of marketing so that you understand that these are the 5 different stages that people are going to move through in your business. And when you understand these phases, it allows you to drive people through more effectively so that you move them from one phase to another when they're ready. You're not forcing people through, but you're guiding them through. And when you move from a position of selling people to a position of serving people, it changes the game. And that's really what this is about. Now, with each one of these questions, here's what I want you to do, guys. By the way, I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're writing this stuff down, because I've had people walk away with like 15, 20 pages of notes from this talk. So we've got a lot that we're going to be covering. We're moving out of the high level and we're moving straight into the tactical and the strategic. So here's what I'm going to be doing. With each one of these phases, there's a question that I'm going to be posting up on the screen. And I want you to write that question down, because each question is different and it pertains to that phase. And so right now is a great time for you to be working on your marketing plan, your business plan for next year. And if you're doing that, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself these questions as you're working on your marketing plan and your business plan. So you're thinking through at each one of these phases, how can I make this better? What can I be doing? So I'm giving you a question, so make sure you write it down, make note of it, and we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about how to address it. All right? So phase number 1 is this: lead generation. Lead generation. So the very first thing you need to do is figure out, how do I generate new leads? And this is critical. How will you generate new leads? Now, if you're writing this down, I want you to underline, I want you to circle, I want you to highlight, whatever you need to do, the word new. Because too many people are focused on just repeat and referral business. And I am here to tell you that I know there are a lot of people out there who teach just repeat and referral business, but I'm here to tell you that it is impossible in today's world, in the world that we live in, where technology is taking over in a massive way. It is impossible to build a sustainable, successful business in this world just off of repeat and referral business. Can't do it. And how do I know? Because in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, for most agents, repeat and referral either dried up or dropped off dramatically. And if you couldn't figure out how to go out, kill something, drag that sucker home, throw it up on the barbecue, grill it, and then serve it up to your family, you weren't eating. And too many people dropped out of the market because they didn't understand, how do I go out and generate new leads? Because when people are going through foreclosure, guess what they're not doing? Referring people like, hey, I'm going through foreclosure. You know who you need to use? My agent. They really helped me get the house sold during this foreclosure. Nobody talks like that. Nobody goes through that. It's a private matter. And so the problem is, as the market goes down, if all you're doing is relying on repeat referral, you're going to be in trouble. So we need to know how to generate new leads for our business. Now, how do we do that? What works? People always go, great, what's working right now? Well, the one that I absolutely love right now, and in a big, big way, you guys, is Facebook advertising. Facebook advertising is killing it for our clients. Now, I know a lot of you are already doing this, but I want to talk about how you can kind of improve it, make it more effective. And for those that are maybe on the fence, kind of evaluating, is Facebook advertising right for me? My hope is that after this, you look at this and go, holy crap, it's totally right for me, because this is something that is killing it for our clients. You're going to see kind of the different lead sources that you can use, drive traffic to this Get Your Value website that sits in the center. Now, all of that is great. I think we all know that through prime seller leads, we can drive traffic to a website. The problem is what happens on the back end, and this is where it says your follow-up sequence, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. You've got to have a follow-up sequence on the back side, and that's where most people fail. This is a prime seller site. This is one of our clients in Portland, Oregon. This is his page. So it says, are you thinking of selling your Portland home or condo right now? Get your home market analysis right. Basic stuff. You recognize this. You get information on it. Put more details in. Find out if they're ready for the home value, so on and so forth, and then they get the CMA on the back side of this. Now, here's what we know, you guys, and Prime Seller is fantastic at this, but it's an estimate, and we all know it's an estimate. And we know that people are going to go online, and they're going to get a Zestimate, they're going to get estimates from different sources, and people sometimes get a little disappointed. They're like, well, it's not accurate, as if that's the point. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to get you information that you can then follow up with, knowing full well that there's a lot of additional information that you can provide that a system can't. Things on the amenities, features, the upgrades, the location, all sorts of things that play into the actual valuation of a property that does take a human to kind of interfere. So you're able to call off of something like this and just say, hey, I noticed you had requested information. I was reviewing the value on your behalf. And I think that there may be some additional information that I could get from you that could make it more valuable or more accurate. Would that be something you find valuable? So now you're changing from somebody who's trying to sell them something to somebody who's trying to provide them value. And that's really what sites like Prime Seller are intended to do for you, is get you their information so you can become the expert who provides the value, right? So that's what this ultimately looks like. That's the process. Now, once you have them in there, we need to talk about the second phase, which is the lead nurturing. Remember that follow-up sequence that I was showing you back here, right? This follow-up sequence, this is where most people's businesses fail, especially agents, and this is in that phase 2, the lead nurturing phase. More than anything else, if I could pick one area that if agents could improve this area, it would mean the difference between having an additional couple $100,000 in their pocket or more, or what they currently have, it would be this phase right here, because this is where people just fall apart, especially when it comes to online leads. Now, the question you're going to be answering here is this: how are you going to communicate with them until they're ready to move forward? What are you going to send them? What are you going to email them? What are you going to do to call them, keep in front of them? What are you going to do to provide value to them until they're ready to move forward? We're going to spend a lot of time on this one because, to me, this is critical, right? This one right here is critical. So the first thing we need to do, though, is we need to dispel a deadly myth. And as a coach, I hear this all the time. And I literally speak to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of agents every single year. And the biggest myth that I hear about online leads is that online leads are crap. Now, some people use different phrasing or different words, but I'm not going to use it here in this presentation, but they just get so frustrated and like, I don't care, all online leads suck and they're all crap and blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to kind of punch a hole in your theory, is that it has nothing to do with the online leads. In fact, the leads are never the problem. What's the problem is your lead nurturing system. So if you don't have the conversion on the leads that you really want, it's not the lead's problem that you can't get them to ultimately buy or sell through you, it's yours. Because we know that at some point these people are going to turn around and they're going to buy or they're going to sell. The question is, are you going to be the person who helps them do that? And most people don't understand how to make this switch. And I can actually prove this to you through a couple of statistics. Now, these aren't my stats. It's not something I made up. These are statistics and data from real trends, and then we'll look at some data from Trulia as well, some actual facts and statistics that they've all shared with me. Now, here's the truth about lead follow. This is from the Real Trends study. Do you know the number of responses the average online lead received in the first 6 months? So I'm online, I fill out a form on, let's say, prime seller leads, and do you know how many times in the first 6 months on average I'm going to be contacted? How many times? The truth, 1.2 times. The average online lead only receives 1.2 responses from a realtor in the first 6 months. That sucks. Now, the next thing is, do you know the percentage of leads who never receive a single response? Like, I fill out the form, nobody touches me, nobody contacts me, nobody reaches out. The percentage who never receive a single response, 43%. 43%. Now, let me ask you, is it the leads or is it the lead follow-up system? This is your money right here, guys. This is your opportunity. You want to make more money right here. This is the difference maker, is understanding how to do the follow-up. So that's what I want to show you how to do. And really what I want to do is I want to show you how to convert your online leads, including your prime seller leads, you guys, at 24%. Now, I'm going to show you a specific plan. I'm actually going to give you an example. 24% is not a made-up number. This is one of our clients, or excuse me, one of our coaches by the name of Nathan Dart converts his online leads at 24%. 24%. Now, that's not 24% per month. So of 100 leads that come in, 24 buy a house that month. It means over a period of time. Now, if you maybe never got to 24%, but imagine if you converted your online leads at 5% or 10% or 15%. Do you think that would make a lot of difference in your income and in your pocketbook? 100% yes. That's why this is so important, is I want to show you exactly what he does and exactly what we teach, the process that makes this possible. Now, you may never get to 24%, but that's not the goal. The goal is to improve what you're currently doing, because most people convert their online leads at less than 1%. So even 5% is a game changer. 10%, it's like, whew, blow the doors off. Baby, I'm coming home with the new Ferrari because Daddy needs a new set of wheels, all right? So that's what we're looking at. Now, here's Nathan Dart, just to give you an idea. He converts his online leads, like I said, at 24%. Just so you have an idea, just his Zillow ad budget alone, you guys, is $4,000 a month. It's actually gone up, and he invests $6,000 or $7,000 per month in online lead sources, and the dude is just on fire. Now, he made $1.26 million in gross commission income in the last year. That's up 200% in 2 years, and that is because of this strategy that I'm about to show you. Now, what we need to understand is this, the importance of follow-up. First and foremost is the number of touches. Before we get into the specific plan, which I'm going to show you, I need you to understand the importance of the number of touches. This is a study from InsideSales.com. And what InsideSales.com figured out is that most people, remember, only touch their leads 1.2 times before giving up. Well, look what happens at 5 touches. 50% of sales don't even happen until after the 5th touch. 80% don't even happen until after the 8th touch. And a full 90% or more don't even occur until after the 12th touch. And yet most people aren't even getting to 2. This is your money right here. You've got to stay on top of them, following up over and over and over again. The second thing you need to keep in mind is the impact of response time. And this is critical, you guys. Response time is key. Now, this is data from Trulia. So this is information that they provided for me. We were doing some events together, and they said, I asked them, I said, can I use these stats? And they're like, absolutely. So here's what they found. that if you can respond to an online lead in less than 1 minute, your improvement on conversion goes up by 391%. That's insane. Now, most people are like, I can't respond within, a minute. Like, that's way too fast. Okay, fine. The online leads expect to be contacted within 15 minutes. Look at what happens in around 3 minutes to 30 minutes. You're still up about 62 to 98%, somewhere in there, depending on how close to 3 minutes you get versus to 30 minutes. It's not that big of a difference, but if you can respond faster, your improvement on conversion goes up. Why? Because which realtor do most people choose? The first one they speak to. So our goal here is to be the first realtor that they speak to, because that's what's going to make you the most likely person they are to use when they go to buy or sell their house. That's the whole goal here. Now, so we know we need to respond often and we need to respond fast. So let's take a look at what this looks like. I'm going to show you a plan here that is what you need to be doing in the first 2 weeks. So a lead comes in, prime seller. I fill out the form. I say, here's my email address or my phone number, whatever it is. What happens in the first 2 weeks? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume you have a phone number for these people. And if they don't give you a phone number, I know Josh and them have a system on the back end. I don't get the whole technology side of it, but they have a way for you to actually capture the phone number or get the phone number for, and I think it works at like 74, 75% accuracy, which is nuts. So this is assuming you have a phone number. If all you have is an email address, then you just up the number of emails you send. But I want to give you what happens if you have an actual phone number for these people, all right? And by the way, this works for any other online lead source or offline lead source too. This is what you need to be doing in the first 2 weeks. Now, before I show you this, I need to warn you on something here, and that's that some of you are going to have a mild heart attack. Hang with me. I will explain it all in just a second. So bear with me, and then we'll get to it. Now, here's what you're going to do. In the first 2 weeks, you're going to make 2 calls a day, 5 days a week, for 2 weeks straight. And right there, that's where the heart attack is like, oh, I can't do that. And don't worry, I'll get to that in a second, but you're going to make 2 calls a day, 5 days a week for 2 weeks straight. Then what you're also going to do in that first 2 weeks is you're going to send an additional 3 to 5 emails minimum in that first 2 weeks, minimum. Now, if all you have is an email address, you need to be emailing like once or twice a day for the first 2 weeks. Now, but if you're going to be making the calls, you don't need to email after every call or email every day necessarily, although I would say email every day that you make a call and make 2 calls a day until you get them on the phone, and we'll talk about that in just a second. And then you also want to send 2 to 3 text messages in the first 2 weeks. Now, if somebody enters their phone number on a web form, more than likely today that is a cell phone. And a lot of people are more likely to respond to their text messages than they are to a voicemail or to an email address, but it's just a way of getting the conversation started. So you could send at minimum 2 to 3 text messages. You could try texting them 5, 7 times. I don't care. Now, here's what happens, though. Most people right now are looking at me like I'm freaking insane because they're like, I can't make that many calls. If I do that, people are going to be pissed. And if they're pissed, they're not going to call me back and they're going to go somewhere else, right? That's what everybody's thinking. Here's the news flash. They're already not calling you back, so you may as well try pissing them off until they do. I mean, think about it. They're not making, if you call and leave a message once, they're not calling you back. If you call and leave a message twice, they're not calling you back. It's very likely that they're going to pick up the phone and go, oh, hey, Travis, thanks so much for calling. Really appreciate that. Let's get on the phone and talk. Instead, you're going to have to be the one that just keeps following up. Now, people always go, okay, 2 calls a day, 5 days a week for 2 weeks straight. What happens if I talk to them? Do I keep calling them? If I talk to them in the morning, do I call them again in the afternoon? Like, no, that's just kind of creepy at that point, right? At the point you get them on the phone, you figure out what's next for them, right? And then you move them off into the appropriate funnels. You don't call and be like, hey, happy Wednesday morning. Good to talk with you. I'll call you again this afternoon and check in and see how your day was. That's just kind of, creepy stalkerish agent person. We don't want to be that person because we're not trying to make BFFs with your best friends forever. For those who are like, what's a BFF? See, I told you I have ADHD, by the way. So anyway, so what we want to do is we want to get them on the phone, and then once we have them on the phone, we figure out where they need to go from there. Now, here's the thing. People always stress about what they should say, and they always go, but what do I say? Like, should I leave a voicemail every single time? Yes, you leave a voicemail every single time. That is exactly what Nathan and his team do. It's what our other clients do. You leave a voicemail every single time. Otherwise, why call? Let them know you're not going anywhere. You're there to help them, there to serve them. And people go, but what do I say, right? Like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin of what to say. Here's the truth. It doesn't matter what you say as long as you say something. Remember, it takes 12 touches to get 90% or more of the sales, and most people aren't even getting to 2. If you just made it to 5 or 8 or 12, it doesn't matter what you say. It's just that you stay on them, you keep calling, and I can prove this. Nathan had a gal on his team by the name of Alex, and Alex had been making calls. When Nathan first implemented this policy, she was pissed. She's like, I don't want to do this. This is so annoying. Like, I don't want to do it. It's not going to work, blah, blah, blah. So she's getting to the 10th call, right? It's the last day, and she's on the last call, and she walks into Nathan's office, like, storms in, and she's like, this is absurd. I'm not making the last call. And he's like, if you want to stay on the team, you're making the last call. So she makes it, and she goes, well, what should I say? And he goes, I honestly don't care. Tell him what you made for breakfast. And she goes, okay, fine. I'm going to tell him what I had for breakfast. So she leaves a voicemail, no joke. Alex could cook. So she made like these Belgian waffles or whatever it was, like with syrup and all this like crazy stuff. So she gets on the voicemail and she goes, hey, it's Alex with Dart Homes. And I know you haven't been calling me back, and I just wanted you to know I'm here to help you with whatever your needs are, whenever they are, and anything that I can serve you with. And so I thought I'd just finish up my last call to you, telling you how to make an incredible Belgian waffle. And she goes through the recipe on the dude's voicemail, no joke, leaves a voicemail telling the guy how to make Belgian waffles. She hangs up the phone, kind of satisfied with herself, like, that'll teach Nathan, and goes about her day. About 3 hours later, she gets a call, no joke, gets a call from, and doesn't recognize the number, picks up the phone. She's like, hey, this is Alex. And the very first words out of the guy's mouth are, who are you and what is wrong with you? And she goes, I'm sorry, who's this? And he goes, you left me a voicemail talking about Belgian waffles. What is wrong with you? And she goes, well, it got you to call me back, didn't it? And he goes, well, I guess it did. I'm sorry I haven't called you. I've been meaning to, but you know what? I laughed so hard when I listened to your voicemail. It's time to meet. Within 30 days, she had the guy in the contract on a house. Now, let me ask you, does it matter what you say, or is it that you say something? Now, for a lot of you, you're still like, okay, but what do I say? So here's what I want to do. If you want the scripts and the templates and everything for this, I'm going to give it to you. I'll give you a way to get the exact 2-week plan that we teach, that we give out. I'll give it to you for free, just my way of saying thank you for being here at the end of the webinar. So stick around. I'll show you how you can get the scripts, the templates, the dialogues, and everything. Now, one of the other things that works really well is this, video. And a couple of years ago, Nathan and I were talking. We were both at a conference together. And he's like, man, people are ignoring emails, because I think you would all agree it's really easy to ignore emails from people that we don't know. So what was happening is people were ignoring the emails, right? The emails that they were sending out. And he's like, how on earth do we improve this? And I said, it's time to incorporate video. Like, you got to get people on video, right? Like, get them to grab their cell phone, hold it up to themselves and be like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's who I am. Hi, it's nice to meet you, all of that. And what they did is they started recording these videos. Now, I'm going to play a video for you. You're not going to be able to hear it, unfortunately, because of our connection. But I just want to show it to you, and I will give you a copy of this video as well and the script that they use so that you can take it. But basically, this is Orly Perez, who's on his team, and Orly is, for all intents and purposes, just saying this. Hi, my name is Orly Perez. I received your request for information via Prime Seller Leads today on a property in the Kentlands. And, I'd love to get you some additional information. If you need anything, call me at blah, 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 or email me at this. I'm here to serve you, so on and so forth. Done. Well, what this did is she would email this out to people, and people started responding very, very fast because they're like, oh, my gosh, that's a real person. Now it's a lot harder to ignore somebody that appears to send you a personalized message. Now, these are all pre-recorded, but they sound personalized so that they can just send them out no matter where the leads are coming from. They send it out, and it's good to go, and it has improved the response rate. Video works very, very well. So I want you to start to incorporate video. And again, I will give you the scripts and the templates and the video for all of that, give you a way to get that for free, just my way of saying thanks. Okay? So phase 3, yes, we're on phase 3. Marketing phase 3 is lead conversion. So this is the time, so you're nurturing, and all of a sudden they raise their hand, they're like, I want to meet with you. I'm ready for you to come look at listing my house. I'm ready for you to come talk about, buying a house, whatever it is, or both. And this is the phase from when somebody raises their hand to the time they sign on the dotted line. Now what happens is most agents stop their marketing at this phase, right? Somebody raises their hand and they say, can you come look at my house on Friday night? Let's schedule an appointment. And on Friday night, you're like, okay, great. So you don't call them between then and Friday except maybe once to confirm the appointment. That's what the average agent does. But we don't want to do what the average agent does. We want to do what great agents do. So what I want you to be thinking about here is how can you increase your conversion rate? And what our top producing clients do is when somebody says, I want to meet with you on Friday night at 6 p.m., if it's a Tuesday or if it's a Wednesday, they're going to be sending them direct mail, certified mail from the post office, because people will open certified mail. If you get a certified mail package, you're like, what is this? You will open it. So it's got like 100% open rate. They're going to send video. They're going to send email. They're going to send all sorts of valuable things. This isn't me marketing, like I'm number one, I'm amazing, I'm awesome. This is about how can I help you in this process? Here's how we serve people just like you. Here's our testimonial videos. Here's this, here's that. And again, I can't show you the video in this phase, so I'm also going to give you a couple of videos that you can use as examples of these testimonial videos. But coming back to Nathan Dart is a great example of this. Nathan converts his listing presentations at 94%, you guys. 94% conversion on his listing presentations. Why? Because he understands, and people are like, well, that's great if you go on like 10 listing presentations. He goes on over 100 listing presentations every single year. The reason the number one reason, no joke, the number one reason he loses a listing presentation, you're not a woman. That's the number. He calls back everybody, goes, hey, I didn't get the listing presentation. I usually get them, so I'm kind of curious, what made you choose another agent? And the number one reason he hears is, well, Nathan, we decided to go with a female realtor. No joke. And he's like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. Well, there is, but I'm not going to do it. And so he says, best of luck to you. I wish you the best, and I look forward to helping you try and find a buyer for your house. And he moves on with his day. Now, the reason that happens is he's got a whole 5-phase process, from direct mail to email to calls to confirm to thank you notes for setting the appointment to the thank you note after the appointment. I mean, it is a full-on process, because he understands that this is the difference between him and everybody else in the marketplace. And if you're showing up, giving more value, staying in touch with them, showing amazing detail before they're your client, they're going to be thinking, man, imagine what this gal or this guy is going to do for me once I am a client. So what are the things that you can do to improve your conversion rate from the time they raise their hand to the time they sign on the dotted line? What can you do to stay in front of them, right? And again, this is the video that it's not going to play correctly, so I will get you the video so that you can have a copy of it, and you can have the full script and everything. I'll actually get you one from Jason Miller as well, another great client of ours who's crushing it with these videos, so you can see that. So I'm sorry we can't get the audio for you, but we will get you the video too. Now, phase 4 is this, client servicing. And most people don't think about how they service their clients as marketing. But everybody talks about repeat referral. This is where repeat referral starts, you guys. And most people think, well, if I meet my client's expectations, they're going to refer me and they're going to use me again. And I know for a fact that that's not true. Why? Because none of us are excited if our expectations are met. If you just meet your client's expectations, think about it. Are you thrilled? Are you excited? No. Are your clients excited? No. Why? Because they got exactly what they expected. Think of it this way. If you go stay at a hotel, right, you go check into a hotel, what do you expect when you check in? You expect the rooms to be clean and the staff to be friendly, right? So if you check into a hotel and the rooms are clean and the staff is friendly, you start calling all of your friends and family and be like, oh my gosh, you will never believe this hotel I'm staying at. The rooms are clean. There's like no blood stains, no body hair anywhere, nothing like creepy on the comforters. And the staff, they smiled at me when I came in like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Your friends and family are going to be like, dude, where are you staying? That's not normal. Like some vibrating bed in a truck stop, hotel, motel thing. Like, you got to raise your standards if you're excited about clean rooms and a friendly staff, right? We're not thrilled when our expectations are met. But I was staying in a hotel. Some clients flew me out to Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's a number of years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago now. And they put me up at this hotel chain called the Sofitel Hotels. Now, I had never stayed at a Sofitel at the time. I didn't know anything about it, but it's a French-owned hotel chain. And so I stay in this, like I didn't know what to expect. I expected the basics, right? Clean room, friendly staff. So I pull up to this hotel, and there's like the French flag waving, and I'm like, oh, it's a French-owned hotel. Okay, cool, whatever. And I pull up into the valet section, and they open the doors, and they start speaking to me in French, and like, bonjour, monsieur, welcome to the Sofitel Hotel, right? And that's the best French accent you're going to get. Only they were from Minnesota, so they were doing it with like a Minnesotan accent, so like, bonjour, monsieur, don't you know, right? That's what it was. And so, by the way, if you're from Minneapolis, St. Paul, you're like some of my favorite people in the world, so if you get offended by that, get over it. But that's my French accent and the Minnesotan accent all in one. So there you go. But they start speaking to me in French, so I'm like, well, this is kind of fun. This is kind of cute. But not like blow me away sort of thing. So I can't walk like 5 feet without somebody going, monsieur, can we help you with your luggage? Monsieur, can we get you some water? Whatever it was. And I was like, well, this is really nice. They're very, very friendly, very, very attentive. But again, not like amazing. And so I checked into the hotel room. The room's clean, and I needed to order a wake-up call or ask for a wake-up call the next morning because I a lot of times have early stage times, and I'm always freaked out that I won't wake up and my iPhone won't work or whatever it is. So I always have like a backup for the backup for the backup for the alarm. And so I order a wake-up call at 4:30 in the morning, and wake-up calls are never pleasant, right? They're horrible experiences. So the phone rings at 4:30 in the morning. I jolt awake, right? And what's the first thing I need at 4:30 in the morning? Coffee, right? So some of you are like, dude, you should never be drinking coffee. You're hyper enough. I know, but it's awesome. So anyway, I need coffee at 4:30 in the morning. And so I'm fumbling around for that in-room coffee maker, right? And those things kind of always freak me out a little bit because you never know when the last time it was cleaned, and they're black for a reason, right? So you can't see what's growing on it. Anyway, so I'm fumbling around for this in-room coffee maker when all of a sudden I hear a knock on the door to my hotel room. I'm like, who on earth is knocking on my door at 4:30 in the morning? I'm kind of upset. So I throw on the hotel robe, which also kind of freaks me out a little bit. And I go open the door, and standing there is a guy in a suit with a towel over his arm and a tray. I don't know if you can see my hand right here, but he's got a tray, and on the tray are 2 piping hot cups of coffee. And he goes, bonjour, monsieur, you got some cafe? He's a little perky for a guy at 4:30 in the morning, but he had hot coffee on a tray that didn't come from the black in-room coffee maker. And I was like, yes, grab the coffee. I was like, bring more. Close the door on him. And guess what? Like 15 minutes later, as he knocked at the door, he's like, monsieur, extra cafe. And I was like, awesome. Grab the coffee, close the door. And I was blown away because they understood that at 4:30 in the morning, if you order a wake-up call, you probably need coffee, so why don't we deliver it for you? Now, how much did that cost them? 76 cents? And a dude with a fake French accent that was a little too perky for 4:30 in the morning? Yeah. Now, the bar for wake-up calls, though, is really, really low. I think we can agree that the bar for wake-up calls is really low, so all it took was 76 cents to raise the bar. But let me ask you a question. In real estate, is the bar for servicing our clients really, really low? They don't expect a lot. They expect you to lie, cheat, steal, tell them that it's great time to buy when they're looking to buy, a great time to sell if they're looking to sell, and if they're looking to buy and sell, guess what? It's a great time for both. And that's what they expect. And so the bar for servicing clients in this industry is so low that a lot of times it doesn't take a lot of money or creativity or ingenuity to raise the bar. It's just about doing something so unexpected that allows them to see that you are different and that you understand intuitively that they have different needs where they're at. And unfortunately, most people never look at a way that they can raise that bar. And I want everybody in here to be thinking about this question. How can you improve your service and your communication to the people that you're serving? What is it that you can do? I mean, think about it. What is everybody's biggest fear when they hire a real estate agent? Well, I'm going to hire this real estate agent, and I'm never going to hear from them again, right? Like, by the way, the question's on the screen. If you're not looking at the screen, look at the screen, write the question down. But their biggest fear is that I'm going to hire an agent, and then they're going to disappear, and I'm going to have to hunt my agent down. But what if one of the things we teach is we say, look, what if you told every one of your clients, by the way, I call my clients every week on Mondays, sometime between 1 and 3 p.m. or between 3 and 5 p.m. Which time would you prefer that I call you to give you any updates on what's happening, whether you're looking to buy, whether you're looking to sell, whatever it is? I'm going to give you updates once a week. If you can't answer the phone, don't answer the phone. I'll leave you a voicemail message. And if you have any questions, you can always call me back. What would you prefer? Most people go, oh, my gosh, like I never thought about doing that. And their clients are like, what? An agent who's going to call me once a week like clockwork to update me as to what's happening? That's amazing, because they don't get that. Does it cost a lot of money? No. Does it cost a lot of time? Not even close. Because our clients never call us at the most opportune times for us. They call it the most opportune times for who? Themselves, which means they're bound to interrupt you at times that are not convenient for you, versus if you were to schedule a time with them, now you control your schedule, you control the time, and now you get to be kind of more in charge of what's happening on a day-to-day basis. So that's the type of thing that you want to be looking at. What can I do to raise the level of service and communication that I'm providing to my clients so I deliver far beyond their expectations, so that I generate and get them excited about using me again and referring me to their friends and their family, right? Okay. Then fifth phase is this, post-sale marketing. Now we're going to be moving into the questions, you guys. So do be punching your questions into the screen over here or into the little chat session. We're going to get to as many as we can. So fifth phase is this, post-sale marketing, right? Post-sale marketing. And this is, if phase number 2, the lead nurturing, is where most agents fail, phase 5 is the second biggest area where most agents fail. And post-sale marketing is what happens after the deal is done, right? So repeat and referral starts with how you service your clients. It ends or it completes the circle after the deal is done, and ultimately what you do to stay top of mind with the people that you just finished serving. I mean, I know so many people are like, I feel like a part of the family when the deal is done. And that's because they brought you into their family. They became close to you. You helped them with one of the most emotional, biggest transactions of their life. And yet too many people then just move on to the next deal, and they forget to keep in contact with these people that have invited them into their lives. And that is such a shame. It's such a waste of opportunity. It's such a waste of people that are there ready to give you repeat referral. We know that just providing great services are going to do it, because 85% of people would refer the realtor if they could remember what? Their name. Why can't they remember their name? They haven't heard from them in years. And I've talked to agents that are 20, 30 years in the business who, when I talk about this, go, oh my gosh, I never realized I have literally helped hundreds of families that I've never talked to ever again, unless they've reached out to me. And I need to go out and I need to reach out to them. I'm like, heck, yes, you do. That's money, hundreds of thousands, if not in some cases, millions of dollars in gross commission income that was left to somebody else because you didn't follow up with them. And so one of the things that we recommend is somewhere between 27 to 33 touches to your past clients in your sphere of influence every single year. Now people freak out and they're like, oh my gosh, 27 to 33, that's a lot. It's really, really easy. This is Camille Earhart, by the way, another one of our clients. Camille this year is just closed out this year at $539,000 in gross commission income. Last year she was at $269. That's a typo. And the year before that, she was at like $169. So, I mean, she's just crushing it. She touches her past clients' sphere of influence 81 times per year. 27 to 33 is super simple, you guys. If you send out a monthly newsletter, that's 12 touches, physical newsletter. Then you send out a monthly email market update. That's another 12 touches. That's 24 right there. And you can automate those things with different services that are out there. And what if you did a client party? And by the way, if you're not doing client parties, you are missing out on major opportunity. We love and preach amazing client parties that just crush it. So you got to be doing client parties. So you send out an invitation to the client party. That's touch number 25. They come to the client party. That's number 26. They send a thank you note or you send a thank you note for coming to the party. That's 27. That doesn't even count the anniversary cards, the annual CMAs. I mean, it's so easy to get to 27 to 33 touches that provide value. She does it 81 times. Never once has anybody said, hey, Camille, stop it. You're sending me too much value. This is annoying, all this stuff you're giving me that's helping me on what's going on in the marketplace, what's happening in our neighborhood, what are the activities that are taking place. See, you can't market too much, and I want you to write this down. You can't market too much if you provide real value. You can't market too much if you provide real value. But if all you do is talk about how awesome you are, you can market too much, and that's just freaking annoying. But if you provide real value, people don't go, hey, stop giving me value. They appreciate it, and they look forward to it, and it allows you to stay top of mind and deliver far beyond their expectations, okay? So this is what it looks like. From phase 1 all the way down to phase 5, lead generation to lead nurturing and so on and so forth. And most people then ask this, okay, but where do I start? Like, where do I begin? So here's what I want you to do. Number one is this. Look at those 5 phases and ask yourself this question. Which of those 5 phases, if I could snap my fingers, wave the magic wand, if I could make it perfect overnight, which of those 5 phases would have the biggest impact on my business right now? Start there. Don't try and do the shotgun approach, you guys, because it just doesn't work. So you need to pick one phase, get it better, and I think probably for most of you, especially if you're investing in prime seller leads, needs to be phase 2, that lead nurturing. Get that system, that campaign set up on the backside. Get them setting up your Facebook ads for you so that you can focus on everything else that you need to be focused on. Let them do what they're good at. You go do what you're great at, which is the lead nurturing. And again, I'm going to give you a campaign that you can use to help you along this process here in just a second. Now, as I mentioned to you before, our goal is this. We want to help you create a business that supports your life, not a business that runs it. So I'm going to give you a couple of gifts. Number one is I want to give you the 3 marketing plans from our coaches and clients. Number one is Nathan Dark. That is a $1.26 million marketing plan. I want to give you his marketing plan. I want to give you Camille Earhart's marketing plan that includes the 81 touches, and also Jason Miller's marketing plan. Both of those over $500,000 in commission income, major transaction volume that those guys do. So I want to give you those marketing plans as my way of saying thank you. We'll also get you the videos for it and the scripts and the templates. So if you want those, here's what you need to do. Go to travisrobertson.com/PSL. /PSL. I'm going to leave this up on the screen during the Q&A session. Go there, give me your name, your email address. We'll get those rushed right out to you. Give us a little bit of time on the video because we didn't know if we were going to need to give those to you, but we know now that you couldn't see them. So I'm going to have to go back and tell my team to add those in. So if you fill this out, fill it out now, but give us a little bit of time to get you the additional videos and the scripts and everything you need like that. So there you have it, you guys. I know it's a lot. I know it's a sip out of a fire hose. We move fast. I want to open it up now for Q&A. Josh, if you want to come back on the line, we can field some questions from people. You can ask me what people were, because I don't know what the questions are, if there were any. So if you have questions, do be typing them in right now, because we are going to get to as many as we can. We're just a few minutes over here, our allotted time. I've got like 15, 20 minutes to hang out, so I'm good.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, Travis, thank you. That was absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate it, and I could see a lot of comments here from people thanking you as well. I mean, I'll just give you one sample one. Somebody said, Travis, thank you. That is one of the best webinars I've been on in over a year, so greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
That means a lot. Thank you, guys.
So let's see here. Let's see what we got. And guys, keep typing. We got a lot of questions here. So let's see. So here's one. They wanted to know what CRM does Travis see most of his clients have the most success with, or what do you recommend for CRM?
Great question. Probably one of the most common questions I get asked. Number one is this. The best CRM is the CRM program you're actually going to use. And by the way, some people don't know what CRM stands for, so it's a customer relationship management tool. So it's like a database platform, like a Top Producer, which, by the way, I hate Top Producer. If you use it and you like it, God bless you. Don't change it if you like it. But there's usually 3 or 4 that I recommend people look into. Number one, if you are using Prime Seller Leads, they've got a kind of a CRM platform built onto the back end of it. So I would encourage you to take a look and see if that's going to work for you and what your needs are, or if you need to maybe supplement it with something else. So if you do want to supplement it with something else, here's 4 that I would recommend you take a look at. Number one is Contactually, and that's CONTACTUALLY, contactually.com. I use it. A lot of our clients use it for different things, and I think it's a great platform. The second one is a platform called Exact Contact, IXACT Contact. A little bit more in the Top Producer style, but without all the bloat and the crap that I think Top Producer has added into their platform. I think it's just become an obnoxious piece of software, truthfully. And I say that online elsewhere, so I don't mind if they hear me say that. But Exact Contact, for people that are similar or familiar with that Top Producer style, I think find a lot of value in Exact. And I know the owner, amazing guy. I love the team over there. I think they're great people. Third one is Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss is another interesting one. And then the fourth one, is a newer one that I've really been seeing kind of pop up more and more. And I haven't personally tested it, but I'm confident enough recommending it because I know the people behind it, and it's called RealVolve, RealVolve, RealVolve. And they're a great team over there, so I just think that one of those four should help you do what you need to do, but here's what I want you to keep in mind. There is no such thing as the perfect CRM. So if you keep jumping from one platform to another, the problem isn't the platform, the problem is you. And so you need to commit to one, pick it, make it work to the best of your abilities, and then work around the little things that it won't do for you. But pick one that you like, that when you log in, you're like, man, I kind of like logging into this. It's helpful. It helps me with a lot of different things. Do that and then move on from there. I mean, just pick one and go forward. Great question, though.
And just as a quick follow-up to that one, somebody just asked, what was the first CRM that you mentioned?
Contactually, and that is spelled C-O-N-T-A-C-T, like contact, UALLY.
And I've heard very good things about that one as well.
Yeah, I use it. I mean, granted, I don't sell real estate, so yeah, I use it for kind of different purposes, but a ton of our clients are switching over to that platform. They love it. So it works great, and they have a big focus on real estate professionals, so they're adding more and more features to it. So I think it's one definitely worth looking into.
Okay, so let's see here. The next one. Oh, and just as a quick aside, somebody just yelled at me from across the room here. In the next PSL update that we have here, hopefully within the next week or two, we'll be integrated with Contactually, like with so many other CRMs that we do.
Awesome.
So we'll be able to send the leads directly over there.
Perfect.
All right, so let's see here.
I have a lot of clients that are going to be thrilled to hear that.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, so here, I've gotten this question, quite a few of these. You mentioned special Facebook ad verbiage, and some
Yes.
people were wondering if you could repeat that quickly.
Absolutely. So it's thinking of selling, ? So the question, thinking of selling? Click for a free, no obligation evaluation of your home.
Okay.
And I know this, it seems weird, like really that's going to make a big difference, but it changes our brains. We see between 3,500 to 4,000 advertising messages per day. All of us do. Now, we don't realize we see that many advertising messages because we're not cognitively aware of all of them. Our brains would like explode. We'd just be walking around like little balls of stress if we cognitively were aware. So our brains are really good at filtering out information it doesn't think is relevant. Think of it this way. If you're going to go buy a new car, right? Like I'm in the market for a new car right now. And so, you know, my wife and I are talking back and forth, and it's like, what do you want, you know? And so I'm thinking a BMW is kind of what I want. So when I'm looking for a new car, what is it that I see everywhere? If I'm looking for a BMW and I start driving around, what are all the different cars that I see? BMWs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all the people that love BMWs. I'm awesome because I'm choosing the car that everybody loves. But the reality is my brain has realized that, oh, BMWs are important to you. Here's a BMW, here's a BMW, here's a like. So our brains focus on giving us information that it thinks are relevant. So by changing the question, if I'm just curious what my home is worth, that ad won't appeal to me because I'm not really thinking of selling. But if I'm thinking of selling, my brain goes, hey, moron, pay attention to this ad because this could be for you. It's a question that's relevant to what you've already kind of mentioned in your head that you're looking to do, which is thinking of selling. So it allows for you to target the ad to just people who are kind of cognitively aware of that process, if that makes sense.
Okay, fantastic.
Did that help?
That does. So now, Travis, you're familiar with our partial leads. That's where somebody just goes ahead and enters an address, but they leave before they give us their name, email address, or phone number. So we have a question here. Somebody wants to know what your thoughts are on partial leads, whether they're worth working, and if so, how do you handle these?
Yes. Absolutely. Great question. So partial leads, just an address is all you have. Here's what I always ask people. If you had the address of somebody who wanted to know the value of their house, do you think there might be some marketing that you could do to them? Absolutely. Direct mail that is very targeted, that says, hey, curious about the value of your house, here's what's going on in your neighborhood, here's some just listed, just sold, here's what's taking place. Want to know the value of your house in today's market? Log on to mypslwebsite.com or whatever it is to get the value of your house. So it gives you, or you can tell people to call you, email, both of those work. But the nice thing about the website is you can kind of then track it back and see which of your mailers are working, because that mailer goes out and it drives them back to the site, and you can kind of track, oh, I sent them a mailer, that must be what got them back to the website. So direct mail works very, very well. Another thing, and a lot of people go, oh, but it's so old school, door knocking. Door knocking still to this day, you guys. Is it old school? Fine, whatever. Call it old school. Some of the most successful agents in any market, I mean agents that are, because too many people go, door knocking, that's for those new agents, right? The agents that don't have a budget. Some of the most successful agents in the world, I'm talking multi-million-dollar gross commission income producers. I was actually having lunch with one last week, and he still door knocks. He ran one of the #1 teams in his brand in the world, and he's like, yeah, we still door knock. And we're talking multi-million-dollar properties. They door knock. Why? Because it works. Now, if you were to knock on the door, what you don't want to say is this, knock on the door and go, hey, you were on my website the other day and you started to fill out a form and you stopped, and I want to know what's going on. Like, that's just creepy. Like, that's kind of Big Brother-ish, and that's bound to get you shot. So what you want to do instead is you want to knock on the door and just kind of pretend or be in the neighborhood and say, hey, my name is Travis Robertson with ABC Realty, and the reason I'm swinging by it today is I specialize in selling homes in your neighborhood, and I'm providing market updates to people out here, and I was just speaking with some of your neighbors and thought I'd drop by, introduce myself, give you some information on what's happening in the market, and out of curiosity, would you be interested in having me put together a free, no-obligation evaluation of your home? So that type of, now, do we already know the answer to that question? Do they want to know the value of their home? Yes, but we don't need to tell them that we know that. And might they say no? Sure, but it's a great way of getting in front of them. But you can keep hitting them with direct mail. You can keep going after them and just stay in front of them, mailing them on a consistent basis. We have clients that do 70% of their business. We're talking big businesses from direct mail campaigns. So direct mail isn't dead. Direct mail is awesome. And when you couple it with something like Prime Seller and direct mail, and you bring those two together through strategies like this, blow the roof off your business in amazing ways. Great question.
Just, I have one, Travis. As far as the direct mail goes, I mean, is there a certain amount of times that you suggest selling it, like a drip email campaign, once a week, once a month, once every 6 months? I mean, what's the sweet spot there?
Great question. So what I always recommend is there's two schools of thought. And the first school of thought is people look at their monthly budget. And so let's say they go, okay, I've got $500 that I can invest into direct mail. Their immediate thought is, so how many homes can I hit for $500? And it's the wrong thought, because in today's world, when we're seeing 3,500 to 4,000 advertising messages per day, if I'm only hitting them once per month, they forget who I am. I mean, think about it. Think about the mail the physical mail that you get. If you miss a mailer, and there's a lot of mail that you don't pay attention to, that you don't notice, or you come home but somebody already went through the mail and tossed it out, so you may miss some of the mailing that comes to your house. So if you only mail once a month and somebody misses that mail piece, now it's 2 months before they have another potential to hear from you. But if they miss that, now it's 3 months. Now they forgot who you are, so the next time they see something from you, you're like, oh, look, sweetie, a new realtor in the marketplace. So what we need to do is we need to be more consistent, and it's not how many homes can I hit once a month, it's how many homes can I afford to hit at minimum twice per month, every 2 weeks, twice a month. And what we don't want to do, by the way, is we do not want to mail as much as possible on the first week and the third week in the month, because that's when all the big box stores are mailing. So they're going to be mailing out on the first of the month, like, hey, here's our December, ads, or here's our December deals, here's our January deals, here's our this, like, that's first of the month, and then again, maybe a reminder in the middle of the month. So that's when the bulk of our mail comes. So we want to try and mail on the second week and the fourth week if we can. And there's a great service from the post office called Every Door Direct Mail. from the post office. It allows you to target to those neighborhoods, to those areas that you really want to specialize in. But I would say if you've got a $500 budget, the question is how many homes can you afford to hit twice a month, not once a month? And I would rather you cast a smaller net, but be there more frequently than a larger net and be there infrequently. And statistically, by the way, this is backed up through the success of our clients. And we've seen the difference between once a month and twice a month, and it's not even a comparison. I mean, it's just, we're talking lights out difference. So you want to be on that twice a month plan. Now, could you do once a week? Yeah, you actually could for a period of time, but then at some point you're going to kind of saturate the market and they're going to know who you are really well, that you could back it off if you wanted to back it off at that point to twice a month. But I really wouldn't recommend backing it down below twice a month unless you've been mailing consistently for 3 to 5 years.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Let's see here. We got a couple more for you.
Yeah.
This is a very good question. Someone wants to know, when the clients resist the 2-week plan when you call, do you just stop cold turkey or touch base with them at a later time?
Great question. So I'm assuming that by resist you mean that you've called them twice a day for 5 days a week, or 5 days a week for 2 weeks straight. You've sent the emails, you sent the text messages, and it's been crickets, like nothing back. Then what you want to do is you want to move them off onto more of just kind of a general drip campaign. So this is something where if you have a monthly newsletter that you send out, which I recommend you have a monthly newsletter you send out, they're going to get that. If you use video updates, like we have a lot of clients who use a service called BombBomb, and I use it actually internally. Do you guys use BombBomb?
Oh yeah, we integrate with BombBomb as well. I love BombBomb.
Oh, geez. So yeah, BombBomb is awesome. And so what I would recommend you do is just do a monthly market update via video. And just go, hey, it's Travis Robertson, ABC Realty, and wanted to give you a kind of, we just got the numbers back on November, and so here's what's happening in your market. And here's what this is going to mean to you. If you're thinking of buying, it means that we're seeing a larger amount of inventory, so you have a lot more to choose from, which is great. If you're thinking of selling, it means we've got to just be competitively priced. You give them some information, you send that out once a month. Plus, if you know they want to know the value of their house, include on an occasional basis another email or another call, once a quarter, once every few months, just checking in with them. But you can really then back it off. You don't want to go cold turkey because remember, the average online lead is anywhere from 6 to 24 months out from being ready to buy or sell. So they fill out a form, and by the way, seller leads, it's actually a little bit longer. It's closer to about, what was it? I was in a meeting with Trulia the other day, and they gave me the stat, and I don't have it right in front of me. I think it's 18 months right now. So a seller lead, somebody who's thinking of selling that comes in through like Prime Seller, on average, the average person is going to be 18 months out from being ready to buy or sell. Now, that doesn't mean you don't want to try and get them on the phone. You don't want to try and get them to have that initial conversation with you. But if they don't, you need to be in front of them for at minimum 18 months, closer to just keep stuff going until they tell you to go away or until they finally call you, which happens, by the way, because Nathan, he's been doing this for a number of years now, that he gets calls from people that are like, Nathan, I know you've been trying to reach me for the last 3 years now, and I'm sorry I've ignored every email, every text, every voicemail, every call. Your team has left, but I'm ready to sell my house now. Can you come take a look at it? Because you've been there giving me value for 3 years. I figure I at least owe you a conversation to see what you can do. So it tapers back, but it becomes a little bit more automated at that point.
That's
with
great.
a smattering of phone calls in there too, and text messages.
Of course.
That are personal.
Let's see here. I think this is our last one.
Awesome.
Let's see here. Is asking, and I think this kind of just touches on what you were just talking about as well with BombBomb, but they're saying when Travis refers to sending videos via email, does he mean sending a hyperlink to a Vimeo or a YouTube ad? Or, excuse me, a YouTube video? Great
question. So there are a lot of different ways you can do it. If you want to see if you're going to do it first, you're like, well, I don't know if I want to go invest in a program that does this like BombBomb, which they're not expensive, but if your budget is something you're careful with, which you should be anyway. But if it's something where you're like, oh man, I don't know if I want to invest that money right now, that's okay. You could text it. So like on my phone right now, I could record a video of me going, hey, it's Travis Robertson, ABC Realty. Got your information from Prime Seller today on the home evaluation, and I want to get you some additional information. Call me at this, blah, blah, blah. I'll reach out to you via phone, email, send it off. Now, I could just text it to the phone number that they've given me, if they've given me a phone number, see if that goes through. If it doesn't go through, it means it's probably a landline. Then I can try just attaching it as an attachment to an email, or I could upload it to Vimeo. I would want to upload it to some place where I can make it private, because you don't want like your YouTube channel to just be a bunch of videos to like, hey Joe, hey Tim, hey Steve, hey Mary. Like that would just kind of be weird. But you like Vimeo, which we use Vimeo for different purposes, and YouTube, like I have a YouTube channel that's like for everybody consumption. Then I have a Vimeo channel where I can lock down certain videos and only people that I give access to can see it. And you can kind of do that with YouTube. It's a little bit more challenging sometimes. But you can send it out that way first, see if you're going to do it. But then ultimately, the reason I like BombBomb, and the reason our clients like Nathan uses BombBomb, Jason Miller uses BombBomb, a lot of them use BombBomb, and the reason is because it gives you a lot of stat tracking. So you can see the minute somebody opens it, the minute somebody watches that video, and how awesome would it be when you know they've watched your video to just so happen to put in a call right then going, hey, it's Travis Robertson, ABC Realty, because they're like, oh, I just watched your video. Oh, no kidding, you did, huh? So it gives you kind of a different level of getting in front of them at a time where they may be more apt to pick up the phone and hear from you.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I'm always looking at products and saying, geez, there's something that I could probably do better than these guys do. But I can honestly say I think BombBomb has the perfect product. And for me,
they do. That is an amazing product.
It is. The best compliment I can give them is I think it's perfect. Nobody needs me to create something different. I think if you're not using BombBomb, use it. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I do believe it's money well spent. Well, Travis, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You gave us a good hour and a half of your time, so a little longer than we had anticipated, but you were a good sport. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Travis's website, everybody, it's up on the screen, travisrobertson.com, and his Facebook and Twitter and phone number. Again, Travis is a fantastic real estate coach. He has a lot of success, so if anybody's looking for a real estate coach, I mean, Travis would be a great choice, and I would highly recommend him.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. And Josh, thank you so much. And to everybody out there, you're awesome. Thank you so much for attending. And I just hope you guys have an amazing year next year. Implement one thing at a time. You are going to succeed. I believe in every single one of you. And I look forward to hearing the success stories. So please email me, fill out a form on my site just saying, hey, just tried this, it worked. I love hearing those things. So go out there, crush it, have a great next year, and implement these as best as you can. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Travis. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.